I'm going to demonstrate to you real quick how to solder through-hole components. And I'm going to do it on this cut-off piece of copper clad board. It's just like a blank circuit board. And the reason for that is it'll simulate a ground plane, which is usually one of the harder things to solder to because it sucks away heat so quickly. What you want to do first for prep is get your soldering iron on, get it heated up. For lead solder, heat it up to 730 Fahrenheit or 322 Celsius. If you're going unleaded, which I don't recommend for various reasons, but if you're going unleaded, I would recommend somewhere in the range of 750 to 800 Fahrenheit. What you want to do when it's nice and hot, make sure your iron is tinned, and if it's not, go ahead and do that, get it cleaned off and everything. And then what you want to do is lay your iron right on the parts that need to be hot for the solder to adhere to. In this case, it's our copper clad board with 2 holes drilled through it, which acts as a ground plane with through-hole pins going to it, which pretty much simulates, say, a pin of a resistor going to a ground plane, which is very common. So touch your iron, maximize the surface area of your iron on both surfaces. It'll be more on the circuit board side than it will be on the pin side because there's not a lot of surface on the pin side to begin with. And when you add your solder, add the solder to a point where it contacts the iron and the pieces to be soldered. This way what happens is you are closing all those little micro gaps in the contact between the iron and the parts with liquid metal, with solder. And that way heat flows faster, it conducts quickly, and you can see even on this ground plane piece, this part acting as even just a wide trace, heats up locally so quickly from doing this that I only have to spend a couple of seconds making each joint. So what you do is you just add just enough solder so that the joint is fully wet and you don't have too much. Too much would look like a bulb of solder or a ball of solder sitting there, especially when you have a green solder mask to keep the solder from puddling out like it kind of does on this demonstration. So as you're doing this, you're making sure that the solder is fully adhering to the copper on the circuit board and the pin that you're soldering to. And it doesn't take a lot, but you want to make sure you get enough. So as you watch me, you see that I added a little bit to begin with until it started to adhere, and then I added a little bit more until I was pleased with the amount that I had and what it looked like. And then lastly, I clip off the excess leads, which is straightforward. I like to use flush cutters like these, and they're different from your standard side cuts because their cutting edge is flush with the edge, hence the name flush cutters. I recommend those for clipping leads because you can get right up against things with it. Anything that you can get at them with will work. These are just the best tool that I've used to do it. And this was a really simple demonstration, a simple tutorial on how to solder through-hole pins. And if this has been helpful to you, go ahead and hit the like button, hit subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this. Leave a comment if you have any questions or topics you'd like me to cover in the future. And if you're interested in learning to solder in a live workshop setting, join the mailing list in the description. That way you'll be notified when those are taking place and you won't be spammed or anything. It's just so I can gauge interest. See you guys in the next one.